This person was pretty confident in saying that I was not going to figure out what game this is playing at the bar in an episode of Succession. And it may have taken me a while, but I mean, of course I figured this one out. We only get about 2 seconds when it's clear enough to see anything, and that's right here. It's pretty far away, so it's not really enough that we can make out the names on the scoreboard, and we can't see either of the teams. All we can see is that it's a red team and a blue team, so we're going to have to do better than that. In this split second, we can see the advertising board around the field flash the Powerade logo, which isn't exactly helpful in terms of location because they've sponsored leagues all over the world. But this logo they've only started using in 2009, and because this episode of Succession came out in 2019, there's only about a 10-year window that this game could have happened in. But that's where the obvious clues ended, and now it was time to identify the stadium. But there weren't any real indicators to what stadium this was, except for what looked like light-colored seats. So it was time to do some digging, and there are a lot of stadiums with this kind of seating, and with no real way of narrowing it down other than a 10-year timeline, it took a lot of searching, but eventually there was just one stadium that I felt matched perfectly, and that was Sydney Football Stadium. The light blue seats, the tunnel at the end of the pitch, this is our stadium, and the team that plays there is Sydney FC, who wears blue. So you would think that we had found our team as well, but it's not the shade of blue that we're looking for. I looked at every shirt they had worn over that time, and they never had a kit like the one that we see in the show. But from going through pictures of Sydney FC matches, I was able to find this picture, which isn't helpful in terms of figuring out what team it is, but if you look at the advertising board, we can see the exact same Powerade advertisement that we see in our video. And this picture was from 2011, so the game that we're looking for would probably be from around that time. So then I was trying to figure out another team who played in that stadium around 2011, and I was coming up empty. There were no Australian teams other than Sydney FC playing at Sydney Football Stadium. But then, from enough searching, I stumbled on the Sydney Festival of Football, a friendly tournament that happened there in July of 2010 that included AEK Athens, Sydney FC, but more importantly, Blackburn Rovers and Rangers FC. Finally, teams wearing the right colored kits playing in the right stadium, and even though I wasn't able to find the entire game online, there were some highlights, and from the look of things, I think it's undeniable that this is the match playing in this episode of Succession, and it happened on July 25th, 2010, and saw Rangers win by a score of 2-1. But if Rangers or Blackburn are watching, release the tapes.